For the best medical and paramedical lectures, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay connected with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Akanksha. Today I am going to deal with one disease condition, that is hernia. So let's start with the definition of the hernia. The definition says that it is a protrusion of a viscous, that means internal organ such as intestine, through an abnormal opening or a weakened area in the wall of the cavity in which it is normally contained. So uh, in easy language means the normal position has been रिप्लेस्ड बाय द एबनॉर्मल पोजीशन. मीन्स क्या होता है, एक ऑर्गन आ जाता है बाहर रप्चर करके एब्डोमिनल वॉल को. दिस इज अ सिंपल डेफिनेशन. Then now next we will move towards the incidence of the hernia. Then hernia can be found at any age, more in men than in women. See, as we know that ki in women how it is caused due to pregnancy, there are high risk for the woman. Means in the pregnancy there will be increase in intra-abdominal pressure, so they have pressure in the they also get pressure in the diaphragm also, and they causes the shortness of breath. So due to this, the hiatus hernia and umbilical hernia, they are most high risk to this diseases. In the neonates is only few percentage. In neonates, I think only the hiatus hernia and umbilical hernia are very commonly seen, but there are very rare cases. Then we will next move towards the risk factors. What are the risk factors of the hernia? First one is obesity. Second one is constipation, heavy lifting. Due to the heavy lifting, it may cause pressure in the intra-abdominal. So there are high risk. There is high risk. And the next one is congenital defect. Then chronic cough, damage from any injury or any surgery, muscle weakness, smoking, pregnancy. These are the some risk factors for the hernia. We will next move towards the what are the causes of the hernia. First one is, as usually we write, age, smoking, chronic coughing, family history, means any genetic history, means his grandfather is having, then his son will get. This family history is the cause of the hernia. Then being constipated, damage from any injury, sudden weight gain, being overweighted or heavy lifting. Then we will next move towards the pathophysiology, means how the hernia occur. As we are seeing in the causes, ये causes को मिला के it causes, and there is an increase that leads to increased inner intra-abdominal pressure, and there is a defect in muscular wall, so due to which it leads to the rupture of the abdominal wall, and so that organ may get protruded in the abnormal place, so that is said to be an hernia. Then it leads to the hernia. This is the simple pathophysiology of the hernia. Then next we will move towards the type of the hernia. I have mentioned some simple types of the hernia which are the most commonly seen in the hospitals. First one is inguinal hernia. In that there are sub two types, indirect and direct inguinal hernia. Then hiatal hernia, femoral hernia, umbilical hernia, incisional ventral hernia. It may occur at the site of the previous surgical incision. Now we will see some commonest sites of the hernia. As we can see in the figure that incisional hernia, epigastric hernia, umbilical, indirect, direct and femoral hernia. These are the some common sites. Next we will move towards the first type, inguinal hernia. The intestine pushed through a weak point or tear into the lower abdominal wall, and it may causes 25% more often in men than women. In that we had seen the two types, indirect and direct. First we'll move towards the indirect part. There is a muscle weakness at the inguinal ring, causes failure closure of the deep inguinal ring. When increasing the intra-abdominal pressure and dilatation of the inguinal ring allows abdominal contents to enter the channel. The protrusion passes through the deep inguinal ring and located laterally to the inferior epigastric artery. Then in direct inguinal hernia, it passes through a weak point in the fascia of the abdominal wall and at the medial into the inferior epigastric artery. Now you can see in the given picture direct and indirect. Now we will next move towards the second type, that was a hiatal hernia. The part of the stomach protrudes up to the diaphragm into the chest, means थोड़ा सा पार्ट स्टमक का थोड़ा सा पार्ट स्लाइड होता है अपवर्ड इनटू द डायफ्राम. Then there are the two types of the hernia, hiatal hernia. First one is sliding and second one is rolling. The distal esophagus slides into the thorax with an intact gastroesophageal junction and therefore it is usually asymptomatic. Rolling hiatus hernia, the most part of the roll into the thorax, the stomach may also undergo a twist. Now you can see in the next given figure, and you can in the first figure there is a normal placement of all esophagus, diaphragm and the stomach. In second, the sliding hiatal hernia. Then in third, there is shown the part of the stomach has been upward went into the thorax. I mean वो थोड़ा सा डायफ्राम के ऊपर चला गया है और वो ट्विस्ट हो गया है, as you can see in the herniated portion of the stomach. Then next is a femoral hernia. It protrudes through a femoral ring, a plug of the fat in a femoral canal enlarged and pull the peritoneum and often the urinary bladder into the sac. More frequently seen in women because of the wider pelvis of the pelvic of the female. In the common, it is commonly seen in the obese woman or a pregnant woman. See, as we know that the fetus is growing inside the womb, so due to which the while delivery the pelvic get wider. Okay. So due to which there are high risk to get this femoral hernia. Then as you can see in the figure ki femoral hernia, how it's look in the male and how it's look in the female. Now we next move towards the umbilical hernia. As I said you first, it is seen in congenital or it may be acquired. An umbilical hernia occurs when intestine fat or fluid push through a weak spot in a belly. This causes a bulger near a belly button or navel. Then in congenital appears in infancy and acquired in increase intra-abdominal pressure, common sights in obese or in a pregnant woman. Then next, as you can see in the picture, after the pregnancy how hernia occurs, means umbilical hernia occurs. And in the first picture there is as we seen in the definition ki some fluids contained or any pressure has been given, so how the hernia occurs. Then next you see the incisional hernia. The incisional hernia occurs at the site of the previous surgical incision, results from inadequate healing of the incision. It may cause by a post-operative wound infection or inadequate nutrition and obesity. Now we will see what are the signs and symptoms of this disease condition. First one is due to the small to moderate size. The hernia is not usually caused by any symptom. Means starting के स्टेज में हमें कुछ symptoms नज़र नहीं आते. Then in large hernia may be noticeable or some cause may discomfort. Then pain while heavy lifting object, tenderness and bulging. अगर severe symptoms में क्या होता है, the patient may come with the symptoms of the severe pain and sudden pain, the nausea, vomiting and constipation. These are the signs and symptoms of the hernia. Then what are the investigations done to detect an hernia is, first one is, as usual we take history of the patient. Means any we can ask patient that you are a gymnastic, or you lift any heavy object, or you have any elimination abnormality, like he is constipated for many days. You can ask this in the history. And next, in the physical examination, as we in physical examination, we the palpation is the most necessary part in the hernia, so that when you will ask that patient to stand and sit, due to this position the hernia get protrude outside, and you can feel that some any abnormal mass is containing or any protruded outside, so you can feel that mass. So the palpation is very necessary and observation is very necessary in the physical examination. Then we will next will give barium swallow, so that we can visualize inside what is going, what is abnormally going, and MRI to detect any abnormality, or X-ray of the abdomen, or blood test. In the blood test, the doctor may refer to get CBC, total blood count, complete blood count, and the patient may get infection. In the patient WBC count may get increased, means to detect any he has any infection or not. Then next we will move towards the management. As we know that the management are divided into surgical, non-surgical, pharmacological and non-pharmacological. First we will move towards the pharmacological treatment. First we will advise patient to give antibiotics only, due to which if he has an infection, then the infection get reduces. So first we will give IV cefoxitin, 1 gram 6 to 8 hourly. Then capsule ampicillin 250 to 500 mg 6 hourly. Then we will next give the patient H2 receptor blockers, that is tablet form, famotidine 40 mg daily, and ranitidine 150 mg BD. Now next we will give proton pump inhibitors for any gastric problems. The first will give tablet omeprazole, Presolic 20 to 40 mg daily, then pantoprazole for 20 to 40 mg daily. Now we will next move towards the NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, also given to the patient, that is in the tablet form, ketoprofen 50 to 75 mg 6 hourly. Then in non-pharmacological management, first we have to avoid food that causes acid reflux or heartburn, such as spicy food. Don't lie down or bend over after the meal. Do exercise. Stop smoking. Avoid gassy drinks, means we have to avoid cold drinks. Avoid lifting heavy objects. Then in non-surgical management, truss. It is a pad-like firm material that will held in a place over the hernia, as you can see in the given picture, with the belt to help keep the abdominal content from protruding into the hernia sac. This is a non-surgical management. Now we can move towards the surgical management. Herniorrhaphy is done, means it is a repair of the hernia. The incision is given and the hernia has been जो भी hernia का जो part है protrude हो गया है, वो उसको हम the placement into the normal position, and the repair is done of the hernia and the sutures have been given. Then in next, Nansen fundoplication surgery is there. This is done in the hiatus hernia, as we have seen that the stomach part is pushed upward into the diaphragm and the stomach get twist. So this is the Nansen fundoplication surgery is done. Then next, now what will be the post-operative complications of the hernia? First will be the post-herniorrhaphy pain syndrome, hernia recurrence, wound infection. Yes, if the wound is not completely dressed up, or the nurse or doctor has not used aseptic technique while dressing, so it may get wound infection. And what we are seeing the type is incisional hernia can be occur again to the patient. Then ischemia is the less blood supply to that part, and the necrosis means the tissue, means the cell has been dead. These are the some complications which are seen in the hernia. Now we will next move towards the nursing management. Yes, as we are the nurse, we have to first assess the patient condition. After the post-operative, the patient has come, or any pre-operative procedure, we have to be with the patient. First assess the patient, then after the procedure has been done, give the comfortable position to the patient, see whether the site of the surgery is bleeding, you can see any hematoma. The dressing should be done properly. For every 2 hours the nurse should check that dressing for any complication. Then use aseptic technique, hand washing should be done before and after touching the patient. Provide medication on the time, don't skip the medication of the patient. Keep the environment clean and quiet, due to which the patient may get relaxed and the patient may get good sleep. Provide basic care to the patient, means help patient, means if the patient is not ambulating, help that patient, or give some basic care like give back care to the patient. The patient may get relaxed, the muscle may get relaxed. Then provide health care, health education to the patient as well as the relatives, means see about the diet, tell the patient to get exercise, passive and active exercise should be given to the patient, and see for the medication, see the patient sleep and rest. These are the points in the health education which we have to provide to the patient and the relatives. Then next, this we had seen the nursing management. Now we will move towards the nursing diagnosis. Yes, we are the nurse, so we have to explain the nursing diagnosis as per the patient's priority. So the nursing diagnosis are also divided into the two parts, pre-operative and the post-operative. In the pre-operative, as we know, the patient may be suffering or may not be suffering from the pain. So if the patient is having pain, then only you have to list down that the patient is suffering from the pain. If not, then the nursing diagnosis may be fear and anxiety related to undergoing any surgery. So what will be then implementation for this fear and anxiety is, first we'll assess the level of the fear and anxiety of the patient. Then afterwards we will give some knowledge, we will explain the procedure to the patient and as well as the relatives. We will take consent, and we will explain that कि nothing will happen, all will be good. ऐसा थोड़ा support करना है, support system should be given to the relatives that he may not get anxiety, or then and the patient will not be so that कि यार मेरे साथ क्या होने वाला है in operation theater blah blah blah. And then next, post operative. First will be, as well as the patient comes from the post operative, the patient may feels pain, so there will be acute pain related to the surgery. We have to mention the pain scale score, how much the patient is suffering from. We have that pain scale score. And afterwards, yes, due to the surgery the patient may be disturbed sleep, he will be having disturbed sleep. So next will become disturbed sleep pattern. If the patient is not eating food for 2 to 3 days after the post surgery, then the nutritional pattern will come. Then there will be the risk of infection. Then next, there are many some diagnoses like activity intolerance. As the post operative, he can't be able to do his activities. So these are the some nursing diagnosis we have to list down. So I hope you have all understood this topic. So
Do like, leave a comment, and share with your friends.